It's the North London derby this weekend, Tottenham versus Arsenal, and this game used to carry so much importance. This time around, maybe it's still very important, maybe for one side, but we'll see what we have to say about this game. But without wasting time, Victor, looking at the form of both sides and seeing everything that has happened surrounding Spurs and surrounding Arsenal, who would you say are the favorites going into this game?
First of all, it will be important for both. Remember, Spurs are in a bit of a relegation battle. But as for the favorites, I mean, surely Arsenal, but good God, has that stance softened. It's one of those situations where people once again realize just how damaging draws can be, because Arsenal have only lost one of their last 10 Premier League games, which sounds pretty good. But of the other nine, only five were wins. So four draws, five wins, one loss in the last 10. It's not exactly title winning form. Spurs have obviously been poor, and now they have a shiny new manager who will do everything in his power to get a result here. So, yes, Arsenal are still favorites, but nowhere near as clearly as they should be.
Fair point. And Max, is there a strong chance of the cliche new manager bounce taking shape in this fixture?
I mean, honestly, we've been talking about it throughout all season, and it didn't really work a single time. All the times it was kind of poor result at first, but only Carrick, I guess. But for the Tudor himself, I mean, he was pretty much terrible at Juventus. He didn't win a single game last 9 before he was sacked, so he's not the type that can bring some magic, I'd say. So I'd say, I mean, obviously Arsenal are favorites, and I don't really expect him to do some special things, but in that particular head-to-head, everything can happen all the time.
But
Fair
man,
point.
just I'm sorry to interject here, but just
Sure.
how Spurs is this that they brought in Igor Tudor after Fabio Paratici left, and he was pushing for Tudor to be appointed in the summer. They appoint Frank, they sack him. Paratici has gone, and now they appoint Tudor. What the hell is going on?
It's it's Spurs, man. It's Spurs. That's the only answer to that statement. It's Spurs as usual. But anyways, let's go over to Spurs, not London rivals. Victor, two questions in one. What do you think has gone wrong for Arsenal's title challenge, and is it still in their hands?
I think not even Arteta knows what's gone wrong with Arsenal's title challenge, and that's what's most worrying, actually. As for in their hands, I would say yes, but as I said earlier, it's the draws. They need to find a way to turn those into wins. Right now, they are 5 ahead of City, still to play against them in April, but any other missteps between now and then are going to be catastrophic. This is a big test for Arteta, as will the Chelsea game be in the next match day. Win both, and there will be more breathing room, especially if City slip up against Newcastle and or Leeds. But as for what's gone wrong, honestly, you could point to any number of problems and make an argument for them, and I could take that argument apart, because it's not squad depth, it can't be fatigue. It If it's me, it's mentality. It's nothing else. They are absolute, and pardon my French, they are scared shitless of bottling it again. Look at how they reacted after Brentford, and it's obvious.
Fair point. And Max, how much of an impact will this game have on the title race and maybe the relegation battle as well?
I mean, for Arsenal, every single game from now is pretty much important for the title, but I'd say it's definitely less important than the head-to-head against City. So even if you lose or draw here, but then you win against City, you're more or less in, I mean, in first class for the title, I'd say. But obviously, you cannot afford to draw points against teams like Tottenham at the moment that cannot win a shit against anybody, and
Or
they're bringing,
Wolves.
yeah, and they're bringing even worse manager than Frank, I should say. So, I mean, obviously it's an important game, but the most important game will come when they face Man City.
Yeah, well said. And back to you, Victor. Who are the key players or what are the tactical battles that could decide this game?
With all due respect to my fellow countrymen, to me, Radu Dragushin is not good enough to be a center back for a top Prem side. So that's where Arsenal should be targeting. I do expect him to start. Romero is still suspended, and it's still very much ravaged Spurs in terms of injuries. And it will be interesting to see how Dragushin is going to try to cope with Arteta's attacking unit. They're going to be stretched this way and that, and it will be interesting. Another area I will be keeping an eye on is obviously the midfield, because I think Rice against Paulinia should be a cracker.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Max, your take on that one?
I'll probably just add that if Gyökeres cannot score against this defensive line, he should be sold this summer for sure, because there's like a half of defensive line injured, and as Victor mentioned, like you have Dragos in defense. If you cannot score against him, then you shouldn't be in a title contender team.
Yeah, and just on the final note, Victor, your prediction for this game?
1-1.
Max?
I'd love to see Arsenal not winning, but I'd say 1-2.
Yeah, you took those ones. You took the words right out of my mouth. 1-2 as well for me. I think Arsenal win this one just by a solitary goal. 1-2. But yeah, we'll see what happens on the pitch. Tottenham versus Arsenal taking place this weekend. If there's anything we've seen in the Premier League lately, anything can happen. I mean, we saw Wolves take points, from 2 goals behind against Arsenal. So, and with Spurs, you never know what to expect. So I'll just say to our viewers out there, expect the unexpected. But anyways, after this game week, we'll be sure to give all the best talking points from this game.